Rockford, Illinois is 3 toll plazas west from Chicago along the evil monster that is the Illinois Tollway. I visited Rockford, Illinois on March 13th and 14th, 2021. Instead of making one 5-hour-long video to go through the whole city, I split it up into 5 different sections. The city is split up into these 5 sections in a way that each video will show a different part of the city in a socio-economic way. For instance, the northeast side of town is a more affluent part of town than the west side is. Also, while I was here, I visited some of Rockford's suburbs and other nearby Illinois towns. Where I am currently is in a town called Winnebago, which is just west of the larger city of Rockford, Illinois. It's the largest city in Illinois outside of the Chicago area. Rockford has found itself on a lot of negative lists. It's had its problems with drugs and crime and things like that. And in this video, I'm going to be driving around the west side of Rockford, which is not considered to be the nicest part of the city. Well, let's get to it, shall we? There's not much to the town of Winnebago. It's about 5 miles west from the city limits of Rockford and is home to around 3,000 people. For the most part, it seems like a place where people stop for gas along the drive between Rockford and Freeport. If you enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video of an area near you. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like this one can be found in my Illinois playlist, my Rockford playlist, or in my USA Hoods playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. It was a pretty sunrise on this particular morning. However, up ahead you'll notice that I'll switch the footage to a separate drive that I took the next day. I switched the footage along the same route because you couldn't see shit when looking directly at the sun. At any rate, after we pass a few sketchy roadside motels, among other things, we'll be in the city limits of Rockford in no time. We are now within the city limits of Rockford, Illinois. Up ahead you'll see a sign that says Rockford, home to 150,200. It's actually home to less than that. The latest estimates show that Rockford is home to 145,600 residents, and that number is down from a 2010 population of 153,100, meaning that Rockford has lost an estimated 7,500 residents, or 4.92%. Rockford doesn't crack the fastest declining cities in the US by the lowest percentage, but it does crack the top 10 cities in the US in terms of total number of lost population since 2010, coming in 9th place. In spots, the west side of Rockford has an eerie feel to it, and you'll see that throughout this video. Here is what looks to be an abandoned industrial warehouse of some sort, and you'll see that throughout a lot of this video. It looks like the city has no plans to do anything with the old structure except to let it rot away. Behind the woods on the south side of this property is a large low-income apartment complex. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like at one point this now dead-end street used to go right through, connecting the complex to State Street. Ahead you'll get a distant glimpse of the giant complex from a side shot. Another point that I wanted to make is that sometimes you'll find cities that are struggling, such as Rockford, but the metro area as a whole, that said city is an anchor of, is actually doing pretty well. That's not the case with Rockford. The metro area has lost even more people than the city and has lost a higher percentage of the population as well, losing an estimated 20,000 since 2010, which is a rate of negative 5.8%. Business Insider has an article that came out in 2018 that lists the 20 fastest shrinking metro areas in the Midwest. The article shows that the Rockford metro area has lost the third highest percentage of population in the Midwest. Coming in second place is Decatur, Illinois, and coming in first place is Danville, Illinois, which shouldn't be too much of a shock, as Illinois has lost more population than any other state since 2010 by far.
But Chris, don't just highlight the cities in Illinois that are struggling and losing population. There are other places that experience the same issues of decline outside of Illinois. You should rename your channel to I Hate Illinois.
I have no reason to hate Illinois at all. I'm just trying to tell the truth. If Illinois was growing in population, I would say good things, but unfortunately it's not. There are 12 states that are a part of the Midwest, and on the list of the 20 fastest shrinking Midwest metro areas, 9 of them were in Illinois. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
How rude of you. I'm never going to watch a nostalgia.
Enough of you, my guy. Getting back on topic, what you can't ignore while driving along West State Street is the amount of vacant lots that line the worn-out thoroughfare. It's obvious that there used to be much more here, whether it was storefronts or homes. Google Street View for this area goes back to 2007, and up ahead I'll attach some screenshots that show how this area has changed in a small amount of years. From this point forward, it's obvious that some recent road improvements were made to make the thoroughfare more attractive. The roadway used to look like the brief stretch that we just drove on all the way from here to downtown. I'd say it was a good investment. Here are some screenshots of what the West State Street and Avon intersection used to look like, and you can compare these photos with how it appears today. Good job, Rockford. Up ahead is the West State Street and Avon intersection, and you can tell that it looks much nicer today. As I transition back to the original footage from the prior day, it looks like a new health facility was built on some vacant land at the intersection. Hopefully that and the nicer looking thoroughfare can boost some more development for this side of town. As we get not even a block away heading south on Avon from State Street, you can tell that the area still looks pretty rough with vacant land, low property values, and abandoned homes. It wouldn't surprise me if the large vacant property on the left was once occupied by a warehouse, as on the other side of the property from Avon Street are some railroad tracks. On this street, a few of the homes are occupied obviously, but also you have a couple that are abandoned. At the end of this street, however, it's like an urban explorer's dream. As we turn left ahead, there's a long string of old industrial warehouses and factories to the left that parallels both the road and some railroad tracks. Rockford is a Rust Belt city. It once relied heavily on manufacturing in the early half of the 20th century. During that time, several inventions were created in this city, such as the Nelson knitting machine, the airbrush, the electric brake, the dollar bill changer, the electric dartboard, the electric garage door opener tops them all. Some of the names of the companies that collectively once employed thousands of workers here include the Airbrush Manufacturing Company, the Free Sewing Machine Company, the Hadorf Piano Company, the Hanson Clock Company, the Hessen Hopkins Leather Company, the Norse Pottery Company, the Rockford Brewing Company, the Rockford Silver Plate Company, and the Rockford Watch Company. However, it was the furniture industry that was the king of Rockford, Illinois' economy, starting in 1880 and lasting through the 1960s. Rockford had a large population of Swedish immigrants when the city was young, and that transitioned Rockford into having many craftsmen. Rockford was considered to be the second largest furniture manufacturing center in the United States. The Great Depression was rough on the industry, and by the end of World War II, the furniture industry in Rockford was basically dead. This string of vacant warehouses and factories reflects those prime years of Rockford. Other parts of town have groups of abandoned industrial facilities just like what we're seeing here. The west side of Rockford didn't see the growth that the east side did during the suburban expansion period from the 1960s to now. This could be due to having Interstate 90 and 39 bypassing Rockford on the east side. Additionally, a freeway-like portion of US 20 bypasses Rockford to the south when it once was routed along State Street throughout the city. However, the south side of Rockford hasn't necessarily seen the large amounts of development like the east side has. This could be due to the fact that the east side is closer to Chicago. Heading north, you also have some developments that have taken place. Heading west, however, if you go back to the beginning of this video, it's more so just a couple of sketch motels that line the West State Street thoroughfare, among other things, before you get to the cornfields. The entire portion of Rockford that is south of State Street and west of the Rock River lies within the 61102 zip code. The zip code also expands out into the countryside for quite a ways. The zip code today is home to an estimated 17,900 residents, which is down from a 2010 population of 20,500. The median household income is $42,000 per year, however the poverty rate is 24%. Only 9% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $81,000. Rockford is a city that as a whole has a violent crime rate that's 3 times the national average rate, and a property crime rate that's pretty high as well. To expand on the violent crime rate, those numbers were from 2019. In the year 2020, Rockford saw a record number of homicides with a total of 36. Less than half of those reported homicides were solved. Nearly every larger city in the US saw a spike in murders in the year 2020, but since this is a video about Rockford, I'm going to be talking about Rockford. It's also true that in recent years, Rockford has had a violent crime rate as high as 1,600 for every 100,000 residents, finding itself in and out of the top 10 lists for the most dangerous large cities in the United States. Hopefully the city is able to see the trend of having a lower crime rate continue. High crime rates and high unemployment rates often go hand in hand, and that can explain a lot of what's happening here. What's more difficult to measure is the drug usage that this community sees. Drug usage is a huge factor in cities like Rockford when it comes to crime issues. Oftentimes, the victims of violent crimes are not just random shootings. Mostly all of them are disputes between individuals who know each other. Not all violent crimes can be related to drug usage, but a lot of them are. Now, to exploit the drug problem in Rockford, in 2019 it was reported that Winnebago County saw on average 3 drug overdose deaths a week, which was a 28% increase from the prior year in 2018. It was the highest reported rate in the county's history, and who's to say that number didn't increase even more in the crazy year that was 2020. Again, Rockford isn't the only city with these issues, but this video is about Rockford, Illinois, and that's what we're focusing on. It's a city that's lost a lot of jobs, and now people are leaving too, as work is difficult to find in this town. The local government has been corrupt as well. For example, in 2013, the former energy director for the city, Mark Bixby, was charged with public corruption, including mail fraud, bribery, extortion, and making false statements to the FBI. His division managed the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program in both Winnebago and Boone counties with a purpose to help low-income residents save energy and money by providing services. Bixby defrauded contractors of over $50,000 during his time in office. It wouldn't surprise me if there's even more cases like that, as many of the larger cities in the US that face the same issues as Rockford also have issues with public corruption. This subdivision up ahead shows some newer homes, and it's nice to see that being developed on this side of town. Next, I head towards Auburn High School and into the 61101 zip code, which isn't much different from the 61102 zip code that we've been in for the entire video up to this point. Even with the continuation of the beautiful sunrise on this particular morning, and with the rolling hills and fields in the background, the sights of urban blight continue. To the left is Auburn High School, home of the Knights and the Lady Knights. Among the most well-known alumni is Olympic boxer Kenneth Gold, former CEO of Chrysler and Home Depot Robert Nardelli, author Kimberla Lawson-Roby, NBA champion who plays for the Toronto Raptors Fred VanVleet, and former NFL head coach Rick Venturi. Rockford isn't known for having great public schools, as Niche.com gives the school district a C+. However, Niche.com also gives Auburn High School an A-, so that's pretty good. For the next couple of minutes, I skimmed the outskirts of the west side of Rockford. There's not much of the city left on the north side of Auburn Street, and the same thing for the west side of Springfield Street up ahead. This next street that I turn on is called School Street, and it's another main thoroughfare that goes through a rougher part of the west side of Rockford. Since I'm in the heart of the 61101 zip code, I'll go ahead and start talking about it. The zip code covers all of Rockford city limits that are north of State Street and west of Rockton Road. The 61101 zip code is home to 19,400 residents, which is down from a 2010 population of 21,500. The median household income is $37,000 per year, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $76,000. Only 10% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the poverty rate is 28%. The stats for the 61101 zip code are slightly worse than those of the 61102 zip code, with the percentage of adults with a bachelor's degree being the lone exception. And in case you forgot what the stats were for the 61102 zip code, here they are. Also, if you forgot the crime rate of Rockford, here that is as well. Here is a nice looking church, and it's called St. Patrick's Catholic Church. On the right ahead is what appears to be an abandoned religious school of some sort. Now I'm heading south on Central, and soon I'll be on the south side of State Street once again. Not all of Rockford is bad, but the Westside has definitely seen better days. Other parts of Rockford that are struggling can be found in the southeastern side of the city. Downtown used to be a no-go zone, but today, it has its nice things about it. Up ahead, the building that you're about to see was once owned by the Barber Coleman company. It's one of the dozen or so major companies that used to employ many workers in Rockford. The building was added to the National Register of Historic Places in August of 2006. The building is in pretty bad shape today, but it's a beauty with the sun just recently risen. The company mostly manufactured milling machinery. I do end the video up ahead. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video of an area near you. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos on other places like the west side of Rockford can be found in my Illinois playlist, my Rockford playlist, or in my American Hoods playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!